everyone, it's Movie Lover 120 here, and I'm here with yet another movie review again. And this is for yet another film that just came out this week. However, the difference with what I reviewed this morning and what I'm reviewing tonight is the movie I'm reviewing tonight did not go to theaters, but it went direct to streaming. Lame. However, this is for a movie series that never gets a wide release. But this is a Shudder exclusive film. And it's for a fourth film in a horror series that was thought to have died years ago, but has now come back with a fresh new film. And that film is, and I reviewed the first three movies last winter, around the first year I started YouTube. And that is, of course, for none other than VHS 94, the fourth movie or prequel slash reboot of the VHS film series. So, let me recap this on my thoughts on this VHS film series. I've seen the first one. I thought it was okay. It had some problems. I mean, Amateur Night and the other one, 10/31/98, were the two best segments of the movie, but the problems I had with the first one were the annoying, obnoxious characters from Tape 56, the idiot criminal guys, just acting like typical Eli Roth douchebags. Just douchebags you'd find in an Eli Roth movie, basically, or in a Rob Zombie movie at best. And I did not care when they died. Like, I just wanted them dead as soon as I met them. However, and the camera work was a little poor on a lot of the segments, so it was kind of blurry. I couldn't really see much, but I did love Amateur Night and 10/31/98 the most of the first one. Then literally just a year after the first one, came VHS 2, and that one is my favorite of this series, because that one has some of the best segments of this series. VHS 2 had some way better characters. I mean, yeah, they weren't really great characters, but they were much better characters than the ones in the first film. I mean, like, we had some way better segments in VHS 2. Like, there was a ride in the park with the zombies, was pretty cool. You had Safe Haven, the one with the cult, was pretty scary as hell. That was the best segment of the series. And then we had Summer Party Alien Abduction, which was the third best segment of the series. So, this series seemed like it was off to be a great franchise, right? Oh, we wished. And then we had the shitfest of the series, VHS Viral, aka the Rec 3 Genesis of this series. That one had 0 good segments. Not one of them was good. And it was made by just some dumb hacks who knew nothing of VHS and just slapped on the VHS title so that VHS fans would go and watch it or stream it wherever it came to. And that had no VHS tapes either. It was all just a bunch of viral YouTube videos. And that had zero good characters. No redeeming qualities. I hate that damn movie. I just hate that damn movie in general, guys. I want to talk about 94, not that shitfest I never liked talking about. But anyway, with that being said, I just finally finished watching VHS 94. What does I gotta say about it? I really actually enjoyed it. I mean, yeah, despite the score I'm gonna give may not seem like I enjoyed it, but this whole review is going to show why this will be a positive version of this score, because I think this is still the second best of the series, despite being somewhat of a reboot. And here is exactly why. So the plot of this movie is that in this one, a police SWAT team investigates about a mysterious VHS tape and discovers a sinister cult that has pre-recorded material which uncovers a nightmarish conspiracy. Yeah, that's my first loving good quality here. I love they got the SWAT team involved in this one, kind of like how Rec 2 got the SWAT team involved in that whole apartment building in a way. Like, the first one was some idiotic criminals. VHS 2 was these two detectives. VHS Viral, I don't know what the hell that was. It was just some random truck driven once again by idiots. And this one is a SWAT team going to an abandoned house looking for a VHS tape. So there's a start. Like, the fourth film of the VHS series is here, and it's with, and like the other movies, it's with each short film converging for the first time in a united narrative. Like, while David Bruckner wrote much of this, he couldn't really direct. Like, apparently he's working on this new Hellraiser film or reboot, and Radio Silence had limited involvement as they're working on the Scream reimagining and reboot or sequel, whatever you want to call it. And this one is made with older video equipment because this movie is set in 1994. Like, physical tape transfers and digital effects so that each segment looks like a nice video. Like, this film has a look much like our beloved shot and video 80s films like Boarding House, yet infused with the look of found footage. There's even some plenty of first-person shooter feel to a lot of the stories, which was actually pretty nice for this one. And oh, and then, by the way, you know how I hate some of the bad camera quality of some of the movies, of these movies? Well, this one probably has the best camera quality because I can literally see better of what's going on. Despite being set in the 90s, I could see so much better quality, and I actually really, really like that. Yeah, plus, with the exception of one segment, the first three segments were very entertaining and very frightening at the same time. So how can this get even better? Lots and lots and lots of gore. Yes, tons of gore, seriously. It's out of control in the best of ways. Like, there are some gnarly ass kills in this movie. The soundtrack by Greg Anderson performing as the Lord, like, yeah, like there was so much gore. Like, all the kills were so great in this movie. Like, I'm gonna get to the kills in a little bit when I talk about the segments, but that being said, before seeing this movie, I was hopeful VHS 94 would learn from the mistakes that Viral did and steer a series back in the right direction. And it actually kind of in a way did. Like, this is way much better. Like, but yeah, it was still far from being as perfect as VHS 2. Yeah, it was definitely a massive improvement over the first film and Viral. Now let's talk about the segments. The first segment of this story is Storm Drain, which is about a news reporter and her cameraman going into the sewer to talk about this giant mutated rat. Which is a decent way to start things off. A couple of good tense moments and a pretty messed up ending. It lives up to what the VHS segments are meant to be about, but is a little bit forgettable. And then there's The Empty Wake, which is about this girl guarding a funeral home on a graveyard shift. Like, this one, I did enjoy this one, but the only thing I didn't really enjoy was the ending when it revealed what was happening. Like, the build-up was so good, but the actual event was just kind of dumb and a bit of a letdown. Letdown in a way. And then there's the third segment, which was my favorite of these, The Subject, which was about this doctor experimenting on some patients, and I think is another, like Safe Haven is a foreign segment with subtitles, so you have to read it. But that one easily has some gnarly kills, some great gore. Like, it feels like a first-person video game in kind of a way. Like, he turns his subjects into cyborgs, but the evil doctor guy is killed straight away when the SWAT team comes in. But then the segments just come alive and they start brutally stabbing everybody. Like, really, like, they stab in some of the most brutal ways imaginable. Like, a gorehound would love this segment. This was the best segment of the movie, and this is probably the segment I recommend checking out if you watch this. If you don't want to watch the whole movie, you just want to watch one of the segments, definitely watch The Subject. That one is easily my favorite of this series. No, not this series. I mean, of this film. I mean, yeah, it's kind of a little too long, but it's still epic. It still has some very epic kills. And then there's the final one, Terror, which is probably the most boring. It probably, once again, has the idiotic characters of 1 and 3. No, not the same characters from those movies, just the characters that had the annoying tropes those characters in the first and third films had. Just characters who swear a lot, takes too many immature jokes, childish jokes. And I think these guys in that segment were like in their 30s or 40s, but they don't even act like any of that age at all. They literally act like kids in that segment. Like, there was no way to care about any of the characters in that one. The story is just a combination of boring and stupid. Probably the worst segment in this movie. Like, which is such a shame because the first two movies had the final segments were actually also good. Like, 10/31/98 was the second best segment of VHS 1, and that was the final segment of that movie. VHS 2 had Slumber Party Alien Abduction, second best segment of VHS 2. VHS Spiral has no good segments, like I've said, guys, so we're not talking about that one. This one, the final segment of this one is probably the worst, and you can just skip this one if you don't want to sit through this boring ass segment. So yeah, once again, but despite that one bad segment, the segments were way better than the ones in Viral. I will definitely say that. That's good because I hated every single segment in Viral. So yeah, while the look of this movie was a bit cheaper compared to the first three, it definitely had some way better camera work than the first three, I will admit. It actually worked effectively at making the tapes feel raw and nasty. All the tapes were great except for that last one, which was called Horror, and man that one is so boring and nonsensical. I almost fell asleep watching that segment, but yeah, but like I've said before, the tape I liked the most was called The Subject by the Indonesian director Timo Tjahjanto. Like, that tape is incredibly gory and full of madness from the characters. Well, it's not the scariest. Yeah, it's not the scariest. It's not as scary as Storm Drain. Storm Drain was probably, I think, the scariest one. I still love The Subject a lot, and I think that is my favorite segment of this movie. So yeah. So yeah, there were 3 great tapes, and one of them was bad. Check it out if you love horror anthology, and if you love the first 2 VHS movies, and want to get a good recovery after that bad third movie from 2014, give this movie a watch. It is worth it if you are a fan of 1 and 2. I think this movie's even better than the first one. And I'd say it's in second place. I mean, I still like VHS 2 better. And yeah. And until then, here's how I'm going to rank VHS 94. I am going to give VHS 94 a 6 out of 10. And there we go. That's my review for VHS 94. And I think they have hinted they might make a 5th one. Well, I kind of hope they just make one more movie and that's it. Honestly, like, I only just really wanted one more VHS movie that would make up for the bad third movie. But I really hope that this 5th movie better be the true last one they do, if they ever do it. I really hope they don't just become another Paranormal Craptivity, another Saw, another Friday the 13th. Like, they just keep one more sequel, and that's it, if they're gonna do that. Because I think this is a sign that this series is truly back to form. And, yeah. But I really hope the guy who did The Subject, Timo, I forget his last name, but I hope he gets to do more Indonesian horror action films, because I think he really nailed that segment, The Subject. So I hope he gets to get more work, because he has potential to be a pretty good horror director and a pretty good gore director. But until then, that will be it for this review. Thank y'all for watching, and if you like this and want to see more, and don't forget to like, subscribe to Movie Lover 120.